Hello, I'm Matthew Olson with Signalfire. We're a creative marketing team out of southern Wisconsin, and I am joined today with Stephen Pickering from Drywater Productions. We're here to talk a lot about video today. Tell me about Drywater.
Yeah, Drywater Productions is my company. We've got a small but very strong crew. We do everything from animation, fully animated spots to capital campaigns, really everything in between. And we're finding ourselves lately getting into a lot more of the special effects and the 3D motion tracking.
Oh, very cool.
And that's been a lot of fun. So
you have a fantastic video production company. And one of the things that we run into all the time is, you know what, everybody says they want to do video, but they really don't know where to start. So let's talk a little bit today about, you know what, why should a business get started doing video now?
Yeah, so video is so huge. It's unlike written text. It's unlike even photos. Video is good for social media marketing. It's good for search engine optimization. If you send out even an email letter and you've got a text link and a video link, users are going to click that video link twice as many times as they'll click that even if it's just a little kind of play button that takes you to a video.
Absolutely.
So people enjoy video. And so there's really no reason not to be doing video. There's so much video that you can do on your own, and then there's of course video that you really do hire a company for to do those bigger kinds of projects. But there's a lot that you can do on your own as well. So they're really it's great to have video, and now's the time to do it.
With when you're creating video, there's a few different places that you can use it. You mentioned obviously YouTube, but where else can you put that video?
Yeah, so YouTube is obviously that's for video. Social media, Facebook, Instagram. Even when you have in Facebook, for example, if there's like a text that has that colorful background, that's more shareable and it's more interesting to share.
Oh, absolutely.
So when you have a video, it's even more shareable than that. Of course, so that's social media. That's easy. Even just on your cell phone, you can be doing that. On your website, video is huge as well, and you can host the video on your actual site, or you can host it through YouTube. Either way, you can actually optimize your video for search engines as well. In the title, you can have keywords. In the description, you can have keywords. Even the file name, you can have keywords or describing what it is instead of just edit 001 or whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and the reason you want to get it on your website is because search engines love video.
Oh, absolutely.
If you've got it on, when you Google anything or Bing or whatever, video oftentimes shows up on that very first page, even if you're not looking for the video.
We see that all the time in like SERP pages and other local search pages. So one of the big things that gets emphasized by so many of the different search engines right now is how well it engages people. Mm-hmm. So we know the ever-present phrase, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Mm-hmm. So how does that translate to video better connecting people?
Yeah, so video will engage a customer. Well, for one, video can drive a customer to your website, which is really cool. Once they get to your website, when you have video there, they're going to stay longer. They're going to absorb your information longer. Google is going to see that people are visiting your pages and staying for a significant amount of time and not just clicking through. Video has that ability to, I call it like the secret superpower of video, and that is emotion.
Right.
It's something that photos can do a lot. You can show an animal in need. You can show the sad eyes.
Right.
But as soon as you couple that with moving pictures, and then you bring in the music, and then you bring in that voiceover, then you can bring in the slow motion. All of that, there's just so much emotion. You can tell so much more story. with
Storytelling is so critical. Businesses have a lot of stories they may not even be aware of, whether it be an origin story, whether it be a case study. What are some of the different ways a business can use video to tell stories? Some of them they might not even be aware of.
Yeah, video is a great way to be able to tell your history, tell
Right.
your origin, even just sharing your company culture
Yeah.
with people. There have been, and the sky's the limit as far as how you do that.
Right.
You can do something that's just as simple as kind of doing a historical documentary of how you were founded, of how your great-grandfather needed a solution to something, and so he created that solution, and now it's passed on from generation to generation. We still hold true to his values. You can have something like that. You can also have something that's totally off the wall, totally bizarre, where it's puppets or it's drawings or it's animation. You can have interviews that are formal. You can have interviews that are just off the wall with your, if it was like a company culture,
Right.
you can have so much fun with that. As far as being able to tell your story, sometimes that's an excellent way for capital campaigns, for when you're seeking funding, when you've got a big ask. That's where it's really helpful to share some of your story and show people, because every story will have your heart or your company's
absolutely.
passion in it, and I think that can really share with the public where your heart is and what your business has come from, what it's gone through, where it's heading.
Oh, absolutely. I know when we're working with a lot of clients, we really talk about saying, okay, what is your customer's buyer's journey, or what is essentially your customer's persona? How does all of this kind of come together in terms of, a lot of times we get the question, okay, what are some of the top questions your customers ask? How does video work for kind of helping the customer through their journey?
For one, well, so some of the questions that we ask, sometimes we'll have customers come to us and they don't even know what they need, but they know that they need video.
Yep.
And that doesn't bother me at all when somebody does come to us. It's like when you go to somebody, you're like, I don't know what I need, but we need to revamp the business, or the car isn't running right. I don't know what's wrong with it. I need you to help me. So I have no problem with that. And it's fun to start asking those questions and just find out what it is that they are trying to accomplish. Maybe it's something. Maybe they're struggling and they need more information out there about their company culture for new hiring. Maybe they have. Maybe no one even knows who they are. Maybe no one knows what they do. Maybe they need a really simple bio video that goes on social media.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's really fun to be able to kind of dissect what they're really looking for and give some ideas and start brainstorming and see what goes from there. Maybe it's a sales video. Maybe it's something that they have a product that they need to sell or a concept that they need to sell, and then we can figure out how we put that best together for them.
I know we talked about why should businesses or organizations be doing video right now? What are some of the challenges or roadblocks businesses have with getting started in video?
One of them would be, well, there are a lot of them. One would be especially if you're doing it on your own.
Yep.
One of them would be that you're just uncomfortable. I am not comfortable being in front of the camera. I like to be behind the camera, and I like to be encouraging the talent who's in front of the camera, just saying, I know it's hard, but here's some tips on how to feel more comfortable. So that's one. Just
Okay.
Really not being comfortable, not knowing what you want to say, feeling like you're going to look dumb. That's one. If it's the person who says, I'm not making my own video, I want to hire a production company to do it for me, one of their roadblocks might be, I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't know what I need. I don't even know where to get started. I don't know how to find a company. So those are some of those kinds of questions. How long should it be? What should the content be?
A lot of businesses are looking to promote a product or promote a service. And a lot of times you want to show and not tell. What are some of the benefits of doing a demonstration video or doing a product sampling video for a business?
Yeah. When you actually can show a product, the viewer is seeing how it works. They're seeing maybe if it's a product. So there are like product reviews. There are product demonstrations. There are how-to videos. There's a whole bunch that goes into the show don't tell.
Right.
And when it comes to selling a product, if you have a demonstration video of how to use these microphones, for example, a user who is on the fence about buying or not buying is like twice as more likely to buy based on a review or a video demonstration, a how-to video of it, when they can actually see it happening. And you can demonstrate things that you wouldn't be able to explain in text. Another thing is, so many people, myself included, I don't want to read a whole bunch of text. I want to be able to, if it's on YouTube, I'm going to be able to skip through there. Okay, here's that screen I'm waiting to get to, and I can see it that way. And that can influence my buying. And it doesn't even have to be, there's such a big review market out there for individuals and even businesses. But as a business, it doesn't even have to be a review. It could be a demonstration. It could be a demonstration of even an unboxing video. Companies can do that. If they sell product, they can do an unboxing video to show what's
unboxing an Apple product is almost a religious experience for a lot of people. So, those kind of things I can definitely see how that can really be a huge help, both website, social, and even just straight up having that material out there. What are some of the most popular kind of videos businesses or organizations can make?
Probably one of the most popular types of videos that businesses and organizations have been contacting us for would be sales videos explaining what they do. Oftentimes, companies have so many different things that they do. They don't just sell this one product or this one type of product, or manufacture this one type of thing. And that's been one of those things that is extremely helpful for them to use, not only online and on social media, but at trade shows.
Right.
We've produced a handful of videos that are geared specifically for trade shows. So we've even embedded captions on the bottom and had music and not even had a voiceover for it, because it's usually turned down. The trade show is noisy, but they can use that at the trade show, and somebody can be walking by and stop and say, "Oh, okay, so that's what you do." Or they can ask, "Do you do this product as well?" You can glance at the video. Yeah, here's some of the different things we do.
Those are really helpful tips for product-based businesses. But what about service-based businesses? What are some of the videos they can do?
Service-based businesses have kind of a unique opportunity to be able to help their customers and would-be customers or will-be customers by demonstrating, for example, a plumber could share tips on, even tips on what you could do at the end of the year, at the end of the season. How do you make sure your exterior pipes are empty? How to fix a leaky sink? Of course, you can jump online. You can go on YouTube and you can find everyone and their brother telling you how to do these things. And some of them will be reliable. And then the others, you'll read the description and you'll have person after person after person saying, no, don't do it like this. So that's where, if you are a reliable source and you can be having those videos out there, just if they can be really simple. They don't need to be giving away any trade secrets, but they can be helping people.
Oh, absolutely.
And they can be used in even your email newsletters saying, hey, fall's come right around the corner. Here's some things to do.
Oh, absolutely. One of the biggest misconceptions that so many businesses have, well, if I share the secrets of doing it, nobody will call me. Well, in all honesty, the people who will do it themselves are going to do it. The people who will look, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. That's going to be who's going to, yeah, I'm calling you. I looked at that YouTube video. Yeah, I'm not that talented. Can you come in and fix this leaky faucet for me?
One of my favorite examples is it's a YouTube channel. They do epoxy coatings.
Yeah.
A lot of countertops. And they show every step along the way of how to do it. And it's so cool because they're giving away secrets, but they're also selling products. And you don't have to use their products, but if you are following their videos and you're using their products, it's so much easier to follow along with it. And honestly, probably most people who get into it are going to get about halfway and realize, oh man, this is not as easy as it looks on there. And it's not because they're doing any trickery, they're just good. And so when you get into it, you're like, man, this takes a lot of skill.
Oh, really? I mean,
and then you know who to call.
Oh, absolutely. That's probably one of the best things that video can do. It really showcases the artistry and talent that so many of these service-based business practitioners have for it. And it, hands down, trying to hide how you do it is the wrong attitude. That you really need to say, hey, this is how we do it. This is why we're the best. We'll show you how we're the best.
Yeah.
So I think that gives some really great insight.
It really does. And even if they're not a customer, they know you, and if they trust you, they're going to know exactly who to go to when they need that help.
For a lot of businesses or organizations, that first video can be really intimidating. Do you have any words or suggestions or ideas on, you know what, when should they do their first video?
One of the things that when you're doing something new, especially something that's outside of your comfort zone, not just trying something new, but something that is outside of your comfort zone, the first one will probably be awkward. You'll probably, when you're doing video, you're looking at yourself. And even if...
And how awkward is it for the cameraman now to be on the other side of the camera?
So I have a lot of sympathy for people when I was in school, when we were learning to direct, we actually had to act as well.
Yep.
And that taught us that it's tough being in front of the camera.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the same thing here. If you're doing a video, whether you're hiring a company to do the video for you and you're going to be in it, it's going to be awkward for you probably, unless you have done this before. If you're doing it on your own, it's going to be weird seeing yourself on camera. And the first ones might you might feel kind of silly. You might feel like you don't look as professional. I think you've used this term before, embrace the suck. And,
Yep.
And so, yeah, there's going to be pain. Embrace that pain. And worst case scenario, if you work on a video and you're just not sure that it's right to get out there, share it with a couple trusted friends, other business colleagues, and see what they think. They may look at it and say, that's fine. That's better than I would do.
Oh, we are always our own worst critics.
Any video is better than no video, but that's not a hard rule.
Yep.
So it's one thing just to keep in mind. If you're not sure, have somebody else look at it, and they would be able to tell you it looks fine.
Oh, absolutely.
Or they'd say, it could be a little bit better, and then you can reassess that. Worst case, if you need to redo it, then you redo it, and you're going to be better the next time. So,
absolutely.
But if you keep redoing it again and again, it's never going to get done because it'll never be perfect.
Perfection is the enemy of success.
Yep.
One of the things, as people look at doing video for the first time, a lot of times they'll want to say, you know what, we can just do it ourselves. Mm-hmm. And the technology and the tools exist for businesses and organizations to do their own video more so than there's ever been. Mm-hmm. You look at your cell phone, and that's a mobile production studio. So if someone's going to start doing video on their own, what are some tips or suggestions you would have so they start moving down the right path?
Yeah, you really can do a lot on your own now. And one of I've got a good marketing friend of mine who does a lot of video work, Jordan, and he came up with this fun acronym, CALF, C-A-L-F. Stands for C is content, A is audio, L is lighting, F is framing. you think of those 4 things, and there's some other things that you kind of fit in there as well that didn't fit into the acronym, but that's the biggest thing. Your content. You need to know where you're going, what you're doing with this video. What is it for? When you figure out what content you're putting in your video, even that would help determine whether it's something you can do on your own or whether it's something that you do call in the pros for.
With planning that content, I know you and I have worked on quite a few videos already together, and one of the things that we always say, you know what, an hour's worth of planning can save you a day's worth of shoot. How can, what are some of the content things businesses or organizations should think of or look at to say, okay, this will make the shoot go better? Is it an outline? Is it stick figures in a storyboard? What can make the planning go better?
It's all of the above. Usually, depending on what kind of video it is. If it's a business that is just doing an unboxing or demonstration video, sometimes just familiarizing yourself with what it is and just shooting it is all you need. There's some other things like B-roll and things that go into that, which we can talk about now or later. But if it was something where it's sharing your story or your history, writing out that outline, writing out the goal of the video. Who is your target audience? Who are you trying to market?
Really good idea.
And then even within that, knowing if you're going to have a call to action. Not every video has to have a call to action, but if you don't have a call to action, you could be missing a big opportunity. And we run into that time and time again where we have to encourage the client. You've got the end of this video. Just put something in there, even if it's as simple as check out our website for more information.
Flashing a phone number. I mean, those are the kind of things that just you never want to leave an opportunity wasted, especially with video.
Yeah.
And that's the closing card, again, is important. But when you're going through and planning that content and going through that, every little nook and cranny of the details can make the process so much smoother. But content is planning and all that. That sometimes it almost feels like the easy part. You had mentioned some of the technical stuff, audio. Oh my goodness. I mean, yes, we have nice mics and a wonderful podcast setup, but what happens when I'm sitting there with my iPhone and trying to get a decent video?
Yeah. Again, always kind of depending on the type of video. If you're using your iPhone, if it's just a handheld one, it might be okay, depending on the type of video. If it's like an unboxing type video or just doing a real quick tip. Actually, sometimes a quick tip that is literally handheld and kind of poor audio, that's okay. It's a quick tip, and people are okay with that. You can get microphones made specifically for video. They just plug in. They're pretty inexpensive. You get at any camera store online or Amazon. Of course, if you're doing video with like a DSLR, there's other things that you'll have to consider with that. Some of the DSLRs can't use external microphones. Some of them can use external microphones, but you can't manually adjust anything.
Right.
So there's a lot that can go into it, but it's just a simple Google search, and on our website we have kind of a list of different ideas and different configurations that you can use to get better audio, better lighting, and some of that. It's some of those quick tips.
And to get those quick tips, you mentioned they're on your website. What's the web address for your site?
Yeah, it's drywaterproductions.com.
Perfect. With audio, equipment is only part of it. What about where you're recording?
It's really easy to feel like you're tied to the quality of your equipment, and really that's not the case. Obviously, that'll make a big difference. If I had a $100,000 video camera and I had a $200 camera, they're going to look different. But if I shoot in the dark on either one of them, they're going to look terrible. So same thing with audio. a really simple thing. We've got some doors here. There's really no traffic out there right now, but if there was construction,
Yep.
this room wouldn't be the right room to use. Good microphone or bad, we wouldn't use this room. Finding another room would be better. Even sometimes going outside where you don't have walls, where you just have the air and it's open. You can get better audio that way.
You'd mentioned going outside. I know sometimes wind is a big consideration with, and we've done this on the quick videos you mentioned in terms of using your iPhone or your cell phone for the video camera. A lot of times we'll put a little powered mic on it in a handheld stabilizer, but the wind, that sometimes is a concern when you're looking at one of those little add-on mics. Are there some that work better outdoors versus indoors? Or what are some of the things that people look at? Should they have the nice little foam surrounds? Or sometimes you see the big, almost like poof balls around microphones. If someone's doing that for their cell phone, what are some of the things they should look for?
One of the things you'd want to look for, well, you'd want to know what you're using for. If it's one that attaches to your shirt, for example, whether it's wireless or wired, it can be as simple as just getting. In the industry, they're called dead cats, but they're just little puff. They're just a little puff, furry.
We love cats.
Yes, we really do love cats. They're the little furry covers that just go on it, and really, it's just fur that is just the wind is hitting the fur and not absorbing into the microphone. That's really all that it is. Or the big foam ones. Sometimes putting it under your shirt. Is all that it takes. If it was one that was like an on-camera one, or like even an external recorder, a Zoom recorder you can use, a lot of times they'll have that big furry thing. So when you're in wind, that's something that you wanna consider is something like that. And they're readily available. B&H, Photo Adorama, Amazon. You can get them really fairly inexpensively.
Fantastic. What goes right along with sound is light. And I know there are times I curse those big, bright, white LED lights, but sometimes we don't always get well, face it, we're in the upper Midwest, so we celebrate those few times a year we see the sun. So when you're doing a video yourself, lighting, what are some ideas in terms of how do you know if your light is good or the right environment is good? What should we look for from lighting?
You nailed it on the head with the sun. When you can use the sunlight, that's awesome. That's going to give you just beautiful, bright light, and you can't beat it. Obviously, if you were standing in direct sun that's beating down your face, you're going to be all sweaty, and that's not going to be as flattering. But when you can utilize the sun, use it. And what I mean by that is in this room, for example, there are some windows over on this way. We wouldn't film this way with the windows behind us.
Those awkward shadows.
Yeah, because you just get the silhouettes there. Turn around, and then you've got all that light kind of just pouring in through the window there. If you're in a room, it's more so in the movies where those office buildings are the nasty yellow green. But offices still do have office lighting, and it's usually not that flattering. So that's one thing to think about. If it's an office that has really bad lighting, be aware of that. Sometimes it's as simple as using your computer monitor as an extra source of light, or having a lamp. With the Zoom calls, what I'll usually do is I'll have my screen half minimized, so I'll have all the video there, and then the other side I just have a white text document open, and it's just casting extra bright light on me.
I'm gonna have to do that. Yeah, I always look like the Grim Reaper on a Zoom call.
Oh, I know. And then you see those who have like that beautiful, gorgeous house, and they've got all the windows and like just flooding light, and they just look beautiful, and then all of us in our offices.
We quietly hate those people.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the things that you can do. You don't have to use the light that's in your above you. You can flip off your lights and you can turn on a lamp. Of course, you can buy lights.
Yep.
You can spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on lights if you needed them like that. Or you can buy a ring light. Ring lights are sometimes called beauty lights, and they're just the circle lights. You see them in the makeup tutorials all the time, and and their eyes are like these beautiful circular lights. I'm not sure that I like them for the beauty, but they're really inexpensive, depending on the brand that you buy. Amazon has a ton. Same thing on our website. We've got a few that we would recommend you check out.
Okay.
And they're inexpensive, under $150 usually. Sometimes much cheaper than that. And you can adjust the color temperature, and that's something that might be another discussion. But
yeah, I was going to say, what is color temperature?
Color temperature, the easiest thing, and maybe you've probably experienced it if you're filming inside with your cell phone, and it looks white.
Yep.
And then you walk outside, usually for a moment it's very blue.
Right.
And then your camera adjusts and gets your whites back to white. So basically, the sunlight is a cooler color. It's more blue. Right. And so you could experiment with this if you turn on your lights in your office. They're going to be more yellowish.
Right.
And then the sunlight's going to be more blue. That's what the temperature is. And you can buy daylight bulbs.
Yes. And you see that with so many LED lights.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe that's a question then in terms of if someone, hey, we're just doing our first video, or we're not ready to invest in getting custom lighting. You had mentioned a lamp earlier. Are there other hey, you know what, use an LED light, or I know sometimes those LED lights will come in that bright blue, if I understand it correctly, it's like a high Kelvin temperature.
At Home Depot, you can just walk on their light bulb aisle, and they're on display, and they'll have the different types of bulbs, and they've got the different temperatures. When you look at those, you'll see there's blue, and there's the more orange.
Yep.
And when they're installed in your house, they look normal.
Right.
But when they're side by side, they're totally different, and that's because of the different temperatures. And that's all it is. It's the color temperature. It's the look of it.
Well, it sounds like between once you get the planning of the content, talking about the sound, and you've got that kind of worked out, the lighting, then you get into some of the more what I'd call technical things when you start talking about the framing. What does that mean?
So framing is pretty much, so right now we're framed, the camera is looking at us. If I'm dead center, that's one type of frame. If I'm way over to the side, that's one type of frame. So that's generally what I mean by framing, but also anything else that's in the frame,
Gotcha.
In the background, that kind of stuff. I've seen pictures all the time. If you Google online, bad composition or bad framing, you'll find all kinds of examples where it'll be somebody standing, and then you'll have like this big tree that's like coming out from behind their head. And those could be intentionally done in order to demonstrate, but you do see that a lot, even on the news, where you see something that's like, ooh, they should have just stepped over a little bit, because it distracts. And especially if it's a serious topic, it can be so distracting that it can feel like you just don't take your brand seriously.
Gotcha.
And then there's other, I don't know if there's subconscious rules, but there are the rules of composition. Even when you're doing photography, there's a difference between somebody who just takes a picture and somebody who looks at it, frames up, and takes that picture. Even if you can't place what it is, there's that rule of the proportions. There's
right.
And so the rule that I follow is the rule of thirds. And you don't, if it's a more of a handheld camera, you can just shoot it and it's going to be fine. But if it's any kind of a serious topic or something that you want to just look a little bit more polished, basically it would be you draw 2 lines down your video vertically, 2 lines horizontally, and on any one of those 4 points you put your subject or you put the bridge of your nose, and that's the third line, and that just looks nicer.
Absolutely. But those are the little details that kind of go from, even though you're doing it yourself, it shows just a step up. It makes it look a lot more polished. But you know what? Framing from what I understand, is a lot more than just about kind of positioning your subject in the film. It also comes down to how it's filmed in terms of that. And as a coffee drinker,
Yep.
a steady hand is not something coffee drinkers are known for. So what else goes into framing?
Everyone has seen it, and probably everyone, including me, has done it. When you're filming something like, and especially when you're filming your kids.
Oh, yes. Trying
Moving all over.
Oh, toddlers.
And sometimes the things you can't. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yep.
But if you're filming any kind of demonstration, keeping a steady hand is crucial. And when you're looking at your little camera, you're used to seeing that motion. But when it's especially on a big screen, it can be so distracting.
Sometimes inducing motion sickness.
And you might not realize it until you film it. So that's just one thing that Blair Witch Project, the Bourne movies. There was a lot of people were saying
handy cam.
There's no reason.
Saving Private Ryan. The beach sequence.
Yes, and so there will be some times you use it, but if you can avoid it, you're going to look more professional. And a lot of the cameras actually have stabilization built in, and they do a great job. Even YouTube does a great job with stabilization.
Absolutely.
But if you can give YouTube or give your camera something much easier to stabilize, it's going to be so much better, because otherwise you do get that jello effect that's going on in there.
Are there devices or are there equipment that is affordably available for someone to kind of help? Because, face it, an iPhone is not exactly friendly for people, at least who have beefy hands like me, holding on and holding something steady. What tools are available?
It can be something as simple as no motor, nothing but a little handheld frame that your camera sits in. It doesn't do anything except that it gives you a bigger grip, and you can hold the camera more steady that way. That's the easiest, or the simplest, cheapest route to go. But you can buy little gimbals that go on a GoPro or an iPhone.
Yep.
They're relatively very inexpensive. I remember the first one that I saw for the bigger cameras, and I wanted it so bad, and they were so expensive. Even now, those have dropped significantly in price. But the little iPhone ones or the GoPros are so cheap. I mean, you can get incredible footage. I saw one once where I actually emailed and I said, it was a school, and I emailed the school teacher who I'd done some working with, and I said, how did you guys shoot that? And he said, we used a GoPro with a little $100 Steadicam. And when he explained that he just used the GoPro and that little Steadicam, I was like, there was a part of me that was like, it's so inexpensive and it's so simple that a part of me was like, they don't need this big stuff. Of course, you can do so much more with the higher end stuff, and a production company is going to do so much more than that. But it's incredible what you can do on your own now.
If someone wants to get a hold of you and ask you to do a video, how can we get a hold of you?
Check out our website, drywaterproductions.com. We have a Facebook channel and YouTube channel as well. But just shoot us an email or give me a call, and we'll talk about some ideas and see what we can do.
Sounds great. What's your URL one more time?
Drywaterproductions.com.
And your phone number?
Phone number is 608-728-2456.
Fantastic. Looks like it will be able to help a lot of people with some video.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Thanks again for joining us. My name is Matthew Olson. I'm the president and creative director of Signalfire. We're a Southern Wisconsin marketing agency that specializes in destination marketing organizations, tourism, hospitality, and other related businesses. We hope that you'll swing by and check us out on our website, signalfire.us, or give us a call at area code 262-725-4500. We'd be happy to answer any questions or find out how we can help you.